Hey friends, it's Mindy with Fairy Tale Life, and I just wanted to come on here and do a quick video about Disney's The Lion King, which is the latest live action movie, live action animated remake that Disney Studios has released. It's coming out on July 19th, and I was lucky enough through my blog to be invited to the world premiere in Hollywood a couple days ago. It's always so much fun to go to a red carpet premiere. It just feels so special and glamorous, and I'm so grateful that Disney invites me to these events, and I just want to say a quick thank you to them. So for the movie, we did watch the movie, and there's something really, really cool about watching the movie in the same room as all of the people who created the movie and worked on the movie. Even if you can't see them, you know that they're there in the room, and it's just really, really special. There's like a special energy about it that is hard to describe unless you have experienced it for yourself. So it's really, really fun, and again, such a cool experience that it's kind of like a pinch me moment. Like, is this really my job? That's so cool. But I do want to talk about the movie. I want to give my honest review because I know that there's this perception that some bloggers aren't honest if they get something for free, and I'm not one of those people. I give honest reviews, so I'm gonna give my honest review of The Lion King. First of all, it really exceeded my expectations. The CGI, the whole movie is almost entirely CGI. Jon Favreau said that there's one scene that's a live action scene, and I'm not sure what it is. Everything just goes so seamlessly together. It just looks so, so good. So it's truly breathtaking and groundbreaking, the technology that Disney has to make these movies look so real. And if you saw The Jungle Book, it just The Jungle Book was so good, but this just surpasses that. It's incredible. It truly is. It looks so good. The other thing that I really love about the movie is that it's a great blend of the original animated classic and the Lion King musical, which has been running for a couple decades now, I believe. And it has its own, it follows the same storyline, but has its own differences. And the movie kind of blends those two things so well. So it takes some aspects from the original film. It's not just a shot-for-shot recreation of the animated film. It does follow the similar storyline. Like, you're gonna see a lot of things that you're familiar with, and you're gonna hear a lot of familiar lines. But lions. But it does take some stuff from the musical too, which I think is really, really cool. And it's a nod to that, the fact that the musical has almost become its own thing aside from the movie. It's its own kind of legendary being on its own. The other thing that I really, really liked about the movie that I was actually really surprised about is I really loved Billy Eichner and Seth Rogen as Timon and Pumbaa. I thought they did such a good job. You can tell that they do a lot of improv and stuff on the fly, and they have a lot of lines that are different from the original movie, and they work so well together, and they're both obviously two funny people, but they make a good duo. And they did say at the press junket that they recorded most of their lines together, so that they would bring that kind of energy to it. And you can really, really tell I feel like they stole the movie for me. Every scene that they were in, they steal the scene, and they do such a good job. Same thing with Keegan-Michael Key and Eric Andre, who play two of the hyenas, and they also kind of have this buddy comedy, and they do a really, really good job. And I was surprised at how much I loved their scenes together, especially since the hyenas are kind of the bad guys. But they did a really, really good job, and I loved their scenes together too. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about some of the things that I actually did not love about the movie. So I'll just say this. I don't think that Donald Glover or Beyonce have a future career in voice animation. It wasn't bad, but for both of them, I just didn't really feel like there was a lot of energy or a lot of, I guess I just didn't really connect with their performance. But I will say that their casting is worth it for their rendition of Can You Feel the Love Tonight, which is absolutely gorgeous. Oh, and one thing I didn't really mention earlier was the songs, which I loved all of the musical performances. I didn't love Be Prepared. It just didn't really, in the animated film, there's like this huge buildup and it's just like this, it kind of gets you riled up. And I didn't feel that way with the live action one. So I'm not sure where the disconnect was for me. But the rest of the songs are so, so, so good. Obviously there's a new song by Beyonce. You've probably already heard it. It fits in really well. Can You Feel the Love Tonight is amazing. Circle of Life, both at the beginning and the end, I just had chills everywhere, just like with the original movie, just like with the musical. So yeah, so I should have touched on the music earlier, but music is amazing. Can You Feel the Love Tonight, really, really good, but otherwise their performances fell a little flat for me. The other thing is that there's not much, so because they want to make it like live action, even though it's CGI, it's live action, and so they're trying to make the animals as realistic as possible, and because of that, animals obviously don't have like the human facial expressions and emotions that you can do when you're doing animated animals. You can kind of like make them look more human, and with the CGI animals you couldn't really do that, so there wasn't a lot of like emotion in their faces. And I think the movie relied a lot upon the audience already kind of knowing the story and thinking back to the animated movie and feeling those emotions. And so there's some scenes where, like, when Mufasa unfortunately dies again in this movie, spoiler alert, there's not a lot of you can tell that Simba's scared and then sad, but there's kind of like a disconnect there as far as the emotion on the faces. I will say that it does speak a lot to the voice performances, and that they can bring out the emotions without kind of having too much facial expression. So I will say that. But so that was kind of like a disconnect for me as well. But overall, I'm a huge critic of the live action remakes, you guys, and I would say The Lion King is probably my second favorite after this year's Aladdin. Aladdin, I think, is my favorite live action remake that they've done so far, and then Lion King would be second. It's really, really good despite, my minor complaints about it. I think that it's a really well done movie. I think that it's great for the next generation. I will say that some of the scarier scenes, since it almost looks like it's a documentary, like you're watching like Planet Earth, or one of the Disney nature films. And so if you have sensitive kids, or if you're a little bit sensitive yourself, those fight scenes and some of those more tragic scenes might feel a little real, versus watching an animated movie. But anyway, I really, really liked it. I think that it's so well done. I mean, the CGI is just absolutely breathtaking. Worth seeing the movie in IMAX on the biggest screen that you can, because it's just absolutely gorgeous. And I do recommend everyone go see it. I think that the performance for Timon and Pumbaa alone is worth it. Also, shout out to John Oliver, who played Zazu, and he also had some lines that you could tell were improv or kind of made up on the spot, and he did a really good job as well. But yeah, so I would say some of those comedic performances stole the show. The music is absolutely great, and yeah, I just really enjoyed it. I always try to be honest with my reviews, so I wanted to say the things that I think kind of fell short for me, but otherwise, I really enjoyed it, and I think that everyone else will as well. So if you watched the whole thing, thank you for watching. Lion King does open on July 19th in theaters everywhere, and I hope that you guys like it. Once you see it, please come back to the comments and let me know if I was right or wrong, what you liked about it, what you didn't like. And otherwise, you can visit thisfairytalelife.com for more Lion King content, and I will see you guys on the next video.